Okay. So, Kwali talks. Mr. President, we just concluded our national AGM, and there's a lot that happened there. For those who didn't come there, we have a summary of some of the key things that were addressed. We have questions from our members. We had a small initiative called Ask Mr. President. Things that you've always had in your mind, issues that concern you, want to hear from the President directly what the answers are. So we'll begin with the issue of membership dues, which we are made to understand were covered extensively during the AGM. Mr. President, sir, after years of deliberations and reviews, we are informed that FEDGOKOSA has officially adopted the membership dues policy at every level. Can you quickly tell us why it's taken so long, what the advantage the dues have now conveyed to the association, and what we intend to do with the dues when collected?
Yeah, I think it's taking so long because our association is actually a young association compared to other unity schools. And so the idea of paying for membership is something that is new to our members. So it's taking long because there are also different school of thoughts. You've got the older sets who feel that the amount of money should be higher. You've got the younger set who say that the amount of money should be a certain amount. So there's this issue of where do we pay the dues, who do we pay the dues to, and that's key because this association has always started with chapters. Now, it didn't start with the national body. And so the chapters were obligated to collect dues and we're struggling with that. So it's not like dues is a new thing. It's like dues has been there, but the chapters had that issue, how do we collect the dues and so on. So we then had the national body. And the national body is now saying, do not pay dues to chapters, now pay dues to the national body. So you now have conflict. You have conflict between the national body and you have that conflict with the chapters as well. And then the various sets, the sets that have been collecting dues. And all of a sudden you're saying, pay one due and pay it at national level. So this has dragged on, the debate has been there. But I think I'm glad to say that after different deliberations and suggestions, at the last AGM that we held on the 12th of October, the House has agreed that membership dues should be paid. We recognize that membership dues should be paid because the association needs to be funded. It needs to be funded so that activities can be carried out. We have welfare issues. We have projects we want to undertake in the school. And we want to help one another. And to do that, money is needed. But it's, for me as the president, it's not just the amount. Is that when we pay membership dues, we show some kind of commitment to the association. And so we agreed that we'll pay 6,000 naira. We will not pay it at the national level, we'll pay it at the chapter level. And why we said that is because everybody needs to kind of link up with their chapters. If you're in Abuja, pay your chapter dues to your chapter. At the end of the day, between the national body and the chapters, we will agree what should come to the national body. But I think first of all, people must identify that they have a chapter. People must know that they need to pay the dues to that particular chapter. When the chapter collates the dues, the chapter will then be able to say, this is how much we've been able to obtain for this period of time. And the chapter will then begin to think of activities to carry out for the benefit of members of the association. When people don't pay dues, it simply means they're not showing commitment. It simply means that people are just saying, do what you want to do, we really don't care. But when everybody starts paying dues, if I put my money down, I want to know what my money is going to be used for. I think at that stage, we'll be at a new level in this association.
Thank you very much. So if that is the case, how has the association been operating all this time without dues, since the association has existed for several years and there have been lots of activities, including the AGM? So how has that been possible?
Let me make it very simple. It's come out of personal pockets. It's a lot of members of the national body have been able to dip hands into their personal pockets and bring out money to fund certain things. But I think, let me use this opportunity to thank a lot of people that I call valuable sponsors of this association. We've not gone out of our association to ask for money from anybody. That's a fact that everybody should know. We've not gone to anybody, we've not gone to any organization to ask for money. We've only gone to our members. And so there are people who know that are ready and committed to the association and say, look, if you need money, just let us know. And we've gone to those people and said, look, we want to run an AGM. For example, the AGM is going to cost us 2 million. There are people that have given us 100,000. There are people that have given us $500,000 naira. There's someone that has given us 1 million naira and said, this is my support and my commitment to the association. That's how we were able to run an AGM successfully. And that's how we've been running. Just asking our members for help as and when we need it. But we're saying we also want to avoid what we call giving fatigue. We don't want to keep going to the same people again and asking for money. I don't need one man to give me 1 million. I need a lot of people in the association to put money down so that we can all own the association and not one person to own the association.
This donor fatigue is a very serious problem, as we've seen. But before we change from that topic and hear from the Abuja chapter regarding the same issue of funding, I'd like you to tell the House emphatically, to be clear, for avoidance of doubt. Thus far, the national body has not been in the process of collecting dues, and there has been no organized financing. There's no government agency that gave a stipend. There's no fund that came from one, apart from individual donations. Is that correct?
That's very correct. Well, so let's just recap a bit. There was a time, and one of the problems we had when we had conflict, there was a time the national body said, let's collect membership dues. And then we announced membership dues that it should be paid at a national level. The membership dues were then collected in various sets. What we saw was that 80% of the 6,000 naira that came in from people who are not attached to any set, any chapter. These are people that are qualites, who just stood up on social media and said, oh, my association is very active. I want to give to my association. And now there were people in America, there were people in London that gave. And so I think we realized about 300 and something thousand naira, which when we then had the chapters cry out and say, no, the dues should be paid to the chapters, we then said, okay, that money still remains in NEC account till now. It's still in the account. Where we've said, when the chapters now agree that, okay, we should collect dues, that money will then be divided through those chapters. If anybody has paid and we can attach them to a chapter, we will attach them to a chapter. So that money was collected, still remains in the account. Apart from that period, NEC has not collected any dues at any other point in time. NEC has not collected any money from any organization at any point in time. We've not gone out of FGC Kwali alumni to collect any money, and no organization has given us any money to support us in the alumni.
Lastly, on this point, we heard that there was an audited account process done sometime in 2018, I think, that assessed all the records and concluded that these facts, as you've declared, are indeed what's
yes,
there.
the account was produced at the last AGM.
Yes,
an audited account
produced. So anybody who wants to inquire further can just refer to the accounts which are available from the Secretariat.
Can be emailed to any member
to assess for themselves. Thank you. Please, I'd like to ask Niall, the Secretary Abuja chapter, to react to what the President has said. What can you add?
Well,
observation.
I mean, from my observation, I'm a practical person, and I look at things in practice outside theory. And looking at this to say, like, we've debated on this over 3 years, I can tell you authoritatively my own opinion.
Yes.
We will still come back to this same topic at some point.
Yes.
Because at the chapter level, the chapter has its own challenges. When you organize programs, people don't show up. You don't have buy-in. Now, the danger of going to people to fund is people can hijack the association by who they like, who they want.
Correct.
Yes.
If, for example, like, say we're 5 people who finance this, I will know that it's 5 people that finance the association.
Yeah.
And we don't have a way to put who we want to be there. We'll stop the association. So the issue of dues is something that we all agree is needed. The problem is, how should we go about it?
Yes.
So people have the school of thought that the chapters are the better place to actually to collect the dues. So people have the school of thought, or share the school of thought rather, that the sets are the most pragmatic way to actually collect this thing. So if National now tax the sets, the National can actually have a budget to say, for this year 2020, we have a budget of 5 million.
Yes.
So that means with what we are going to get from the set, we should have 7 million. 5 million is going into the budget, 2 million is going to go into savings. So we have surplus. The next person coming in can grow on that. Now, what happens now with this is when you say the chapter should go and collect, we've seen cases where a chapter chairman might be very vibrant. The next person who replaces him might not be vibrant. The person who comes in might be loved by people, and he will have people buy into his ideas. You now have the issue of integrity, where people feel that the chapter person has, by mischief makers, who will always tell you that this person has touched our money because he's bought a new car. Yes. That before he became the chairman, he did not have this car. Now he's not the chairman and he's owned this car. So those are the things that we need to really sit down and tell ourselves that this. By the end of the day, it's an AGM. People have decided what they want. So we have to be guided by what they want. But I feel it's important for people to understand the intricacies of these things. You say, what is sustainable? So it doesn't become a situation of the president, who has done a fantastic job, has created this avenue of like enthusiasts. People are enthusiastic about the alumni right now. And after he finishes his tenure, it just goes down. And 5 years down the line, we're back to where we are now. So I feel at the end of the day, people need to understand, as I said, they've decided to say we're going to pay an amount of money. The commitment is what we need to say, how do we pay this money and how do we hold our chairpersons accountable for this money? Chairperson saying, okay, how do we sit down with the national to say, what is the sharing formula? So that it doesn't be a situation whereby the chapter gets active, the national dies. Yes. So there has to be that synergy. For example, talking about like what will the money be used for? We've been to the school a couple of times. The school have made it clear to us their needs. And it's unfortunate to see that people in different sets go to school to give them what they feel the school needs. It's sad if I'm hungry and I'm telling you that the doctor said I should eat rice. And you bring yam to me and say you must eat yam. That's what I have to give you. Yes. And you spend more money giving me yam than the rice they actually need. So I think that people in alumni need to understand. We have to have that discourse, even beyond now. Discussion have to go within the sets at the chapter level to reorientate people's minds. So that beyond the now, because this will not happen at the snap of a finger.
But Naya, I think just to help you out here, we've taken practical steps where NEC is going to champion the cost of membership dues. So even though we've agreed at the AGM that membership dues will start, NEC is not just going to sit back and say chapters go ahead and collect membership dues. We're going to drive it. We're going to let members see the importance. So a lot of information will go out for people to know. First of all, find your chapter. If you live in Enugu, there's no chapter. Your nearest chapter is Port Harcourt. Link with Port Harcourt chapter, pay your dues to Port Harcourt chapter. You live in Akure, your nearest chapter is Lagos. Pay your dues to Lagos chapter, Lagos will register you. But more practically, what we're doing is we're still using the sets. In every chapter president knows that they must identify set reps in their chapter. So you have Abuja chapter. You have to know who is the set person, who is the person that this is not the national body set rep now that governs the whole set. This is that in Abuja, there must be one person in a particular set that is able to push that set together. All the chapter president needs to do is to connect with that particular set rep in that chapter, get that set rep to pay the dues to the set rep. To be honest, you can only get it sorted within the sets. The sets are powerful in the sense that we know each other. We can trust each other. It's easier for me to know why I'm paying the dues to Naya. Naya then has a record of it. Naya says my whole set paid 100 and something thousand, takes it to the chapter in one bulk. So what the chapter president should do is not to be chasing every individual member in Abuja chapter. He only needs to chase every set member. How many sets do we have? You have 36 sets presently now. You only need to chase 36 people and make sure that within their sets, they're able to collect their membership dues and bring it to the chapter. When we do it that way, it will work out.
But this sounds brilliant, but this to me shows the need for a certain kind of a structure, because there are a lot of cases that will end up slipping through the cracks. Some people are in the same town with their set members or chapter members and they don't even know that they have a chapter. In such situations, it will eventually come to NEC's attention that there are these cases. And how would you suggest NEC help integrate or
there are people, and let's not kid ourselves. There are people in this association that will not identify with their set
or chapter.
Let me start with the set. Before you get the chapter. I'm even saying that they don't identify with their set. I belong to K90. I know a lot of people in Abuja that did not turn up for the AGM. I know a lot of people that talk on the secretariat forum and still will not show up in a gathering. I know some people that do not even want to be members of that particular WhatsApp forum or any group, but they will show up for a gathering. Everyone has their ideas, and you cannot force anyone to say or do anything you want them to do. So there are people in the association who will not identify with a set, who will not identify with a chapter, but they will identify with the national body. The only reason why they are doing that is to say, once a Kwalite, always a Kwalite. So when they see anything, this is why I said to you that when we started the membership dues drive, 80% of these people, when I asked them, why are you paying your dues to national so easily, and you've never identified with your set, you've never identified with your chapter before, they said, well, we have a national body. We want to be part of the association. We want to belong. Now, I think going forward, we will still identify those people, and that's the only way we can bring out people. When those people come and say they want to pay their membership dues, and they're not able to identify their chapters, or they don't want to be part of the chapter, we still collect the dues from them. It can still be collected at a national level. You don't need to go into the intricacies and start saying to them, I must force you into Lagos chapter. No. They're Kwalites. So even if they pay to national body must account for it. The national body knows that if you live in Birmingham, in the United Kingdom, you're a member of the London chapter, whether you like it or not. That you choose not to pay your dues to the London chapter, we still identify you as a Kwali. You have paid your dues, we will still fit it into the London chapter because that is where we have identified you. So we're just saying, whoever you are, wherever you are, as long as you recognize you're a Kwali, if you want to pay to the chapter, which should be the first place you should pay to pay. If you want to pay to national does not collect the money and say it is national money. National collects the money and say, where is this person's chapter, and still identify it, and at some point transfer it to the chapter so that they can account for the whole money.
To simplify the whole issue, I think if we're able to have a system, all we need is just the system which we've already put in place. All we need is to implement it with time. All those people we complain of, or all those people that don't want to identify with either chapter or set, will come on their own. Just like I was having a talk with my colleague Mel. When we had our 10th year anniversary, a lot of us were shy to even come and say, okay, I'm an ex-Kwali. Some of them feel left out. Some of them feel they've not reached or achieved anything in life. So they feel shy to actually just come and mingle with us. But we're able to tell them, look, it's not all about that. There's a reason we're a family. We all went to Kwali and we still want to be together. So it's not all about where you are now. If you actually have a problem, you can actually come to one of us or anybody you feel safe with. If you're not, I believe that the person you should be safe with is your set member. Yes. But with time, at the end of the day, after our 10th year anniversary, a lot of them came out and there was love. We could actually talk to ourselves. So what I'm trying to say in essence is this: once we have this system running, yes, I believe that the number of people we will see will be surprised. So the issue of dues and everything will go smoothly. We're only having this issue now because we are new and information is still at a very low level. By the time it goes out and there's a very, very good system at place, we don't have a problem.